Gunfire cracked through the tense silence of the battlefield, and within seconds, chaos erupted as Israeli defense forces came under a sudden, deadly assault. Hamas snipers, positioned with precision and waiting for the perfect moment, opened fire on IDF troops in the northern Gaza border region, inflicting significant casualties. But the most shocking moment came when an Israeli Merkava tank, long seen as the backbone of Israel's armored power, was struck and destroyed in the same operation. The destruction of one of the world's most advanced tanks by Hamas forces sent shockwaves not just through Israel, but across the entire Middle East, raising urgent questions about the shifting balance of power, the evolving tactics of Palestinian resistance groups, and the future of Israel's military confidence. This was not just another clash. This was an escalation of psychological warfare, a blow to Israel's sense of invulnerability, and a dangerous sign of what lies ahead in this never-ending conflict. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. The attack unfolded in a matter of minutes, but the planning behind it was anything but hasty. Intelligence sources suggest Hamas fighters had been monitoring Israeli troop movements for weeks, carefully studying patterns, patrols, and vulnerabilities. The snipers, trained to wait with surgical patience, unleashed coordinated fire at the precise moment IDF soldiers were exposed, creating panic among the troops and forcing them into defensive positions. What followed was even more dramatic. Anti-armor weaponry, believed to be either advanced RPG systems or guided missiles, was deployed against the tank, leading to an explosion that lit up the battlefield. Videos quickly circulated on social media, with Hamas claiming responsibility and framing the attack as proof that Israel's vaunted military machine is not invincible. In Tel Aviv, military officials scrambled to verify the footage, but the undeniable reality of the burning tank was enough to spark alarm and debate at the highest levels of government. The significance of this incident cannot be overstated. For decades, Israel's military doctrine has relied heavily on the superiority of its armored forces, particularly the Merkava tanks, which are designed with advanced armor protection, active defense systems, and unparalleled firepower. These tanks are not only symbols of military might but also of national security. To see one destroyed by Hamas fighters, who until recently were dismissed as limited to small arms and homemade rockets, sends a chilling message. It signals a growing sophistication among Palestinian militant groups, potentially backed by external allies such as Iran or Hezbollah, who are known to supply training, weapons, and tactical guidance. If Hamas now possesses the ability to neutralize advanced tanks, it could fundamentally alter Israel's calculus in future ground operations inside Gaza. This attack also shines a light on the psychological aspect of warfare. For Israeli soldiers, the idea that their tanks, once considered impenetrable, can be ambushed and destroyed by determined fighters changes the sense of security on the battlefield. Fear is a powerful weapon, and Hamas understands this. By striking both personnel and armored vehicles in a single coordinated action, they created an image of vulnerability that spreads far beyond the battlefield. Across Israel, news of the destroyed tank triggered debates among citizens, with some questioning whether continued incursions into Gaza are worth the cost. Meanwhile, in Gaza and across the Arab world, the images were celebrated as a symbolic victory, proof that even the strongest armies can be humbled by strategic resistance. To understand why this attack happened now, we must consider the larger context. Tensions between Israel and Hamas have been steadily rising over recent months, fueled by airstrikes, rocket exchanges, and political maneuvering. Israeli operations in Gaza, aimed at dismantling Hamas's military infrastructure, have intensified, leading to mounting casualties among Palestinians and growing international criticism. In response, Hamas has sought to demonstrate its resilience and capacity to strike back. This sniper operation and tank destruction were not just acts of military aggression. They were carefully staged acts of messaging, intended to show the world that Hamas remains capable of inflicting painful blows against Israel despite decades of blockades and assaults. It is also likely a warning. Should Israel consider a larger ground invasion, it will face not only resistance but also unexpected and costly losses. The consequences of this event ripple in many directions. Militarily, Israel is now confronted with the challenge of reassessing its ground strategy. If tanks are no longer guaranteed to dominate the battlefield, commanders must rethink deployment, tactics, and risk management. The IDF may be forced to rely even more heavily on airstrikes and drone warfare, but that too has limitations. Civilians are often caught in the crossfire, and global criticism mounts with every bombing campaign. Politically, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces mounting pressure. The Israeli public, already fatigued by years of conflict, demands reassurance that their security forces remain capable of defending the nation. Failure to respond decisively risks undermining public confidence, while an overly aggressive retaliation could draw international condemnation and escalate the cycle of violence even further. Internationally, the attack is being watched with keen interest. Iran, often accused of supplying weapons and training to Hamas, may see this as validation of its strategy of supporting regional resistance groups to counter Israel. Hezbollah in Lebanon, with far greater capabilities than Hamas, could be emboldened by this demonstration, raising fears of a multi-front confrontation. Meanwhile, the United States, Israel's closest ally, is caught in a delicate position. Washington must reaffirm its support for Israel's right to defend itself while also urging restraint to prevent a wider regional conflict. Already, analysts are warning that if such incidents continue, they could spark a chain reaction, dragging multiple actors into a larger, more devastating war. Beyond the immediate military and political implications lies the humanitarian reality. Every escalation between Israel and Hamas inevitably leads to civilian suffering. As Israel considers its response to the destroyed tank and sniper attack, Gaza braces for retaliatory strikes. Families already struggling under siege now face the possibility of intensified bombardments, displacement, and loss of life. For Palestinians, however, moments like this fuel both pride and determination. Many view the attack not as an act of aggression, but as a defense against occupation, a rare instance where their fighters were able to stand up to one of the most powerful militaries in the world. This duality, victory for one side, tragedy for another, defines the inescapable cycle of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Looking deeper into the future impact, the destruction of the Israeli tank raises important questions about the evolving nature of asymmetrical warfare. Groups like Hamas cannot match Israel in conventional military terms. They lack fleets of aircraft, advanced missile defense systems, or a standing army. But what they can do is innovate, adapt, and strike at vulnerabilities. By combining guerrilla tactics with modern weaponry smuggled through complex networks, they create moments of shock that resonate far beyond their immediate military value. If this pattern continues, Israel may find itself forced into increasingly defensive postures, relying more on technology and less on ground dominance. But technology alone cannot guarantee victory against an opponent willing to sacrifice everything for symbolic and psychological impact. In the coming weeks, Israel is expected to retaliate forcefully. Airstrikes on Gaza are likely, targeting Hamas infrastructure, command centers, and suspected weapon caches. However, as history shows, such retaliation rarely eliminates the threat entirely. Hamas, embedded within the civilian population and supported by clandestine supply routes, will endure. Each Israeli strike that results in civilian casualties fuels resentment and provides Hamas with further justification and recruitment potential. In this way, the conflict perpetuates itself, with each side feeding the narrative of the other, ensuring that peace remains elusive. The broader geopolitical consequences also cannot be ignored. In the Arab world, this attack is celebrated as a sign of resistance and defiance. Across social media, images of the burning tank are circulated with pride, inspiring sympathizers and boosting morale among allied groups. For governments in the region, it is a reminder that despite normalization agreements with Israel by some Arab states, the Palestinian issue remains deeply emotional and politically potent. Leaders must tread carefully, balancing their diplomatic ties with Israel against the anger of their populations who view Palestinians as fighting a just struggle. Meanwhile, global powers like Russia and China may seek to exploit this moment, using it as evidence of Western hypocrisy and failed peace processes, positioning themselves as alternative mediators or backers of resistance narratives. As we analyze this incident, one truth stands out. The conflict between Israel and Hamas is not merely a local struggle, but a proxy battlefield for larger regional and global interests. The destroyed tank is more than metal and fire. It is a symbol, a message, and a warning. For Israel, it is a reminder that no matter how advanced its military technology, the will and ingenuity of its adversaries cannot be underestimated. For Hamas, it is a propaganda victory, a rallying cry, and a demonstration of relevance in a world where narratives matter as much as weapons. For the people caught in the middle, it is yet another tragic step in a conflict that has claimed countless lives and offers no easy solutions. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the events on that battlefield will echo for years to come. They will shape military strategies, political decisions, and international alliances. They will inspire some and terrify others. And they will serve as yet another reminder that in the battle between Israel and Hamas there are no true victors, only cycles of violence, brief moments of triumph, and enduring scars on both nations and their people. This is a developing story, and the world is watching with bated breath. What comes next may determine not just the future of Gaza and Israel, but the stability of the entire Middle East. The sniper's bullet and the burning tank are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of the next chapter in a conflict that refuses to fade, a conflict that demands our attention, our understanding, and our recognition of its profound human and geopolitical consequences.